right, what a beautiful morning to have you on board for the morning drift on the cultural umbrella. I'm Cecilia Lubanga and I'm stepping in for Anki Doris. And if you've just woken up, you're just on time to understand the Luo culture, something that we are talking about today. So welcome on board. And before we explore the Luo culture, there's just one question I'd wish to ask you. How much are you familiar with your culture? Be it whichever tribe you're coming from or whichever region you come from, be it Kenya or across the continent. How much do you understand about your culture? And fact is, culture describes and defines where we come from. It gives us a sense of identity. And yes, the Luo culture, this is a team of people, or rather a tribe that is based in the western region, or rather the western part of Kenya. And just looking at the Luo culture from their origin to how they came up together, how they do about the activities in terms of, the marriage process, the initiation process, and all that just surrounds the Luo tribe in general. Now, to just begin this morning, keep your SMSs coming on all our social media platforms at Look Up TV. This is the Morning Draft with Cecilia Lubanga. Now, just look at the first thing. We are looking at the creation of the origin. Now, the Luo is it's subdivided into 18 sub-tribes, whereby we're just going to look at the Bukusu, the Idaho, the Isuha, the Kabras, the Hayo, the Kisa, the Marachi, the Maragoli, Marama, the Nyala, the Samya, the Tachoni, Chiriki, Tsotso, the Wanga, and Batura, just to mention a few of the sub-tribes of the Luo. Now, the Luos, first of all, in Kenya, Luos are known for certain characters, rather certain behaviors when it comes to how they carry out themselves or their favorite meal, because according to most Kenyans, Luos are known for enjoying chicken as their favorite diet. But we're going to understand more on if that's actually the fact or they have extra to what, constitutes of the Luo culture. Now, the word Luo, it compromises of a number of ethnic groups natives to Western Kenya. They are divided into 20 cultural and linguistically related tribes. The numbers, according to the 2019 census, they constitute over 19 million people, according to the 2019 national census. Each sub-tribe has a distinct dialect. The word Luo or Luya in some of the dialect means the north, and the Abaluya thus means people from the north. Now, if we look at the Luo origin, these people, they originated from the north. If you look at they constitute part of the Bantus who originated from the north, from the Congo region, and they got into Kenya through the Ugandan border to the northern part, and finally settling at the western region. The Bukusu and the Maragoli are the two largest Luo sub-tribes. Yes, as I've said earlier, the Luo sub-tribes constitute of more than 18 sub-tribes, but now, just to limit this to two sub-tribes, that is the Bukusu and the Maragoli, these are the largest sub-tribe of the Luo community. The principal traditional settlement area of the Luo is what was formerly the Western Province. Now, right now the country has been subdivided into counties, but initially, before the subdivision was done, the Luos are known to come from the western region. And these people are identified, by the factor of their economic activity, in the sense that they're known to be farmers and people who ventured into trade. And being the tribes being in existence, there are some sub-tribes that have dominated for the longest time in terms of leadership, in terms of how they carry out themselves, and this has just made them stand out in one way or another. On the onset of colonialism in Kenya, the Wanga were ruled by Nabongo Mumia. Now, Nabongo is a kingdom that is in Mumias right now. Mumias right now, it's a constituency rather. And now the Wanga kingdom it's a tourist attraction in Mumias, whereby this kingdom was known to rule, and it collaborated with the British colonialists in the sense that they brought in trade, and that the people who welcomed the British, they came into collaboration with the British. And the kingdom had many kingdoms, the kingdom had many leaders who went an extra mile, to just give the Mumias region its, you know, its unique factor in the sense that up to date, the Wanga Kingdom, it's a tourist attraction center. And now, if you look at the Bukusu, now if you look at, we want to look at the occupation areas of these sub-tribes. And you're looking at the Bukusu, who speak Lubukusu. I don't know if, if you're familiar with that, because a normal Kenyan will just say that, you know, the Bukusu speak Bukusu, but now the original pronunciation of Bukusu is Lubukusu. I don't know if you got that right. It's Lubukusu. Yes, the Bukusu speak Lubukusu and they occupy Bungoma and Mount Elgon region. The clan is subdivided into smaller clans here. So despite the fact that already the Luo community has sub-tribes, rather the subgroups, again, they still have, the tree still subdivides into smaller regions, into smaller sub-tribes and semi-sub-tribes that constitute eventually the entire Luo clan. The Samia speak Lusamia and occupy southern region of the Busia. Then the Hayo speak Luhayo and occupy the Nambale and Matayos divisions of Busia County. These two subdivisions, these two sub-tribes rather, they are based in Busia, now known as Busia County. The Marachi speak Lumarachi and they occupy Butula in Busia County. The Nyala speak Lunyala and occupy Busia, and other Nyala occupy the northern western part of Kakamega County. Kakamega is currently a county, and it's one of the biggest county in the country as we speak. And Luyas, yes, we are being known to be the tribe that constitutes as a bigger section of the country after the Kikuyus and the Akambas. Now, if you look at the Tsoso, they speak Luidaho, apparently, and occupy the western part of the Kakamega County. The Idaho speak Luidaho and occupy the southern part of the Kakamega County. The Isuha speak Luisuha and occupy the eastern part of Kakamega District, Kakamega County rather, and the Maragoli speak Lugoli and occupy Vihiga County. Now, currently, the Luis are known to occupy more than 3 counties. That is the Bungoma, Vihiga, and Kakamega County. And some of them extend to Kisumu and part of the regions that surround the western region. Then the Marachi speak the Lumarama and they occupy Butere, yes. Some of these terms are not quite easy to pronounce, you know. It takes you coming from that region to clearly understand, or rather to be able to pronounce these terms correctly. The Kisi speak Olushisha and occupy Huisero. Huisero is still a region in the western region. It's still an area in the western region. The Tachoni speak Lutachoni and occupy the Lugari and Bungoma Malava. Now, those are just some, that's just something that gives us a brief understanding of, you know, where the Luyas originated from and where they are currently located when it comes to, you know, the Kenyan map. And now, we're just looking at the economic activities of the Luo. Many tribes, or rather tribes within the country, they've been identified by certain economic activities. And yes, there are those who are known for farming, there are those who are known for long distance trading, there are those who are known for taking part in the fishing activity. There are those who are known for exclusively doing, you know, animal keeping. So basically, even the Luo, as we speak as a tribe, it has its own economic activity. Now, when you look at the economic activity, depending on the regions right now, we are looking at, you know, Kakamega. And Kakamega right now, it's a town, it's a county, and there's Kakamega town, whereby sugarcane is the main farming activity. Even though we are looking at situations whereby, you know, if we look at the Mumia Sugar Company, the Nzoia Sugar Company, Mumia is currently not in operation, but still we have main sugarcane factories in the western region, because this is one economic activity that has been identified with the Luyas. Then in Bungoma, when you look at the Bungoma town, the main economic activity is dependent on grains and sugar. Still, we are looking at sugarcane and, you know, grain farming, but still all these are still under the umbrella of farming as we speak. In Vihiga, that is the Mbale town in Vihiga County, tea farming and grain farming is the main income for locals. Now, of course, it's known that tea farming is something that is associated with areas such as Kericho. But here we are having, you know, a section of Luyas who take part, or rather practice tea farming as their economic activity. Now, in Busia, that is Busia town, there is fishing and grain farming as the main local activity in the region. Now, Busia is a county that borders the Uganda, and of course, definitely, we are looking at also trading, whereby we are having goods getting into the country and out of the country through the Busia border. And that means some of the people, or rather some, as far as Busia right now constitutes of more than just one tribe, doing business, or rather carrying out business activities that entails trading is something that is associated with communities, or rather any groups residing in Busia County. But the Luyas are known for practicing fishing and grain farming as their main local activity. Now, in Trans Nzoia, again, one region that is highly occupied by the Luo community, in Kitale, maize farming is the most economic activity. Now, this is one thing that the country at large knows Luyas for, you know. We are known for practicing maize farming. And every time, you know, you'll meet randomly with a Kenyan, someone, they're like, oh, you know, she's a lawyer or he's a lawyer. And they begin asking, like, you know, when are you getting us maize? And so on. But to be honest, right now, you know, we have become one people in the sense that people have learned to cut across various communities and various economic activities. So it's hard to actually tell what, you know, one person is doing or the other. But at the end of the day, there's just one thing that still defines us, you know, depending on our cultures, of what we practice in our day-to-day life. And culture is one of the things that defines us. So when you talk of, you know, maize farming, it's something that for the longest time, it has been associated, you know, with the Luyas. Now, we are looking at Mbale town. The Masaba or Gishu people are predominantly coffee and tea farmers. Yes, once again, we are mentioning coffee and tea farming, something that also the Luyas are known for. Now, let us just get into the deep dive of the rites and initiation and marriage when it comes to the Luo communities. Now, today we are more familiar with locally called rorashus, in the sense that, you know, when someone wants to get a wife, they go to the girl's home, they, you know, they pay dowry, and a celebration is carried out, and eventually the woman is, you know, identified as married to the other party that have come to pay the dowry. But then again, these different communities are defined by different practices of marriage and initiation in various, depending on the various communities. Now, if you're looking at the Luo community, now, first of all, polygamy is known as a source, as a means, or rather an expression of wealth by the Luo community. If you're a man and you happen to have many wives and you had, you know, stretches of lands and you know, you just had an extensive kind of a family, you are known as someone who is very rich or respected in the community. And of course, you know, we couldn't, like today you really need to have, you really need to be financially stable to be able to cater for a big family. But initially it was quite easy because all you needed to have was, you know, stretches of land and plenty of food, and your family would survive. So that was one indication of wealth and respect. If at all you wanted to earn respect in the community before, in the Luo community, you had to have you know, a bigger family, children, daughters and sons. And also the big family also played a different role in the sense that, you know, if you had a big family, it was a source of labor, you know. Having that, the Luyas are known for being farmers. It means that you don't have to pay people or get extra people to do farming or various activities within a homestead. You just had to have many children so that everyone has their duties. That was quite unique, but today it's no longer a practice with every Luo family or Luo, someone who identifies as a Luo, because, you know, times have changed and things are quite different right now. Now, polygamy was a common practice in the past, but today it is only practiced by few people, usually if the man marries under traditional African laws or the Muslim laws. Now, About 10 to 15 families traditionally made up a village. Now, this also extends, stretches, or rather extends to the fact that, you know, it was not allowed for you to marry somebody from the same community, because chances are you'll marry your relative, and that was forbidden in the traditional, you know, system. So having that, most of these people had extensive families, and most of the time they will reside in the same village. That means you'll take a risk. If you took a risk marrying somebody from the same village, you'll end up marrying your own relative. So these people, for the sake of security, they'll reside in the same villages, and, you know, they'll just share common duties. And bringing up a child was a communal activity, in the sense that, you know, unlike before, today it's more like an individual parent's responsibility. But initially, if your uncle, your auntie, or anyone related to your family would meet you as a child doing something that is not supposed to be done, they are, you know, they had the rights to punish you, or rather to punish you, or rather take actions that are necessary. So yes, definitely, times have changed and things are no longer the same. Now, Oweliguru is a post-colonial title for a village leader coined from the English word crew. Now, various sub-tribes in the Luo community defined this differently, because there are those who say it was Liguru, there are those who said Oweliguru. So it depends with whichever sub-tribe you're coming from. So these villages had leaders who took up responsibilities, and they acted as the heads and the source of law, you know, for those various villages. Since if there was a case that needed critical attention, people will be forwarded to these heads, and a solution will be arrived at. Then, within a family, the man of the home was the ultimate authority, followed by this firstborn son. Now, that is something that is common with many communities, and it's also the same for the Luo community. The man of the family was the head of a home, and then this extends to even, you know, the firstborn son. If at all the man was ailing or ended up dying, you know, whoever will take up responsibility after him was his firstborn son. And just not his firstborn son from the first wife, if at all the man practiced, you know, polygamy, which was something that was common, you know, when it came to the Luo community. Now, the firstborn son of the first wife was usually the main heir of his father, even if he happened to be younger than his half-brother from his father's other wives. Now, the first wife was highly respected in the Luo community, in the sense that, you know, whether she gave birth to the firstborn son of the entire family, or the secondborn, the lastborn son, the first wife was highly respected, and the son that she gave birth to was also highly respected by the family. So this was something that was critical in the Luo community. Now, the daughters had no permanent position in Luo families, as they will eventually become other men's wife. Yeah, unlike today, you know, women will take up leadership in various positions, and for some families today, having that, most of us, you know, we have been influenced by the westernization of various communities, like in the sense that we no longer practice our cultural practices. Some of us just, you know, we live according to how we see modernization, or rather what is identified as modernization. And yes, it wasn't proper, or rather it wasn't practiced in the Luo community, whereby a daughter would probably inherit wealth from his parents, and they were not held as important people in the family. Yes, they were considered as the children in the family, but they're not held with higher respect, since they will eventually go, rather be married off to other families and form, be part of other families. So this was something that was there in the Luo community. They did not inherit property and were excluded from decision-making meetings within the family. Yes. Children are named after their class ancestors, after their grandparents, after events or weather. Now, that's something else that, you know, Luos are being known for, you know. The names that are associated with regions, depending on the various tribes, there's a certain name that you'll hear, and eventually it will just click in your mind that this name is associated with this. Names were given depending on events, depending on, you know, ancestral preferences, or events, or activities, or the time of the birth. For instance, Wanjala is a name that is, you know, associated with, you know, a child born during, you know, hunger. when the season is dry and the food is not available. Then wafula, from the word ifula. Ifula is a Luo name to mean the rain. So if wafula was a name associated with a child born during a rainy season, and so forth and so on. There's so many names in the Luo community that, you know, are associated with certain events, certain activities, or certain or a given time of the birth. Yes. The name Wafula, for example, is given to a boy born during the rainy season. Wanjala is given to one born during famine, just as I have said. Traditionally, they practiced arranged marriage. The parents of boys will approach the parents of a girl to ask for her hand in marriage. Exactly. And like today, you know, you'll choose a partner depending on what your preference is, and it doesn't matter where they're coming from. But one thing for sure is that, you know, for the Luo community, for you to be able to have a wife, you literally had to, your parents had to organize that, and you had to get married to somebody that probably your parents have organized for you. It didn't matter the age to some extent, as long as they feel like this is one person that you really want to associate with when it comes to, you know, family ties and links, and they feel that you're the preferable daughter to be married off to such families. That was something that would easily happen for the Luo community. If the girl agreed, negotiations for dowry would begin. Typically, this would be 12 cattle and similar number of sheep and goats. Yes, that was a way of paying dowry in the Luo community. Today, things have changed. Nowadays, families will meet, sit down, talk. Whoever wants to marry the girl can just pay dowry by means of money. And even to some extent, some people don't even pay dowry because times have changed and you do things the way you wish to do them. Now, typically, this would be 12 cattle and similar number of sheep and goats. Instances of eloping were and are still common. Young men will elope with willing girls, with the negotiations of dowry to be conducted later. Yes. I don't know how to explain this in the modern society. Tendencies whereby you just meet with somebody and disappear with him or her, and eventually you turn up later, probably to say sorry to both families, so that you guys are granted the blessings to start off your families. You know, for the Luo communities, it wasn't something that was strange as well, as long as what was done that you would pay a fine if you're the man who eloped with somebody's daughters, for the sake of clarifying that you're actually taking her, you know, or rather you're actually taking her so that she becomes your wife. So the only thing that was needed for you to do was, you know, just pay the whatever you're supposed to pay. Probably it could be an exchange of, you know, livestock. It could be cattle, sheep, goats, or whatever you are demanded by the elders for you to pay, so that things are cleared. As polygamy was allowed, a middle-aged man will typically have 2 or 3 wives. That is something common, as I've said, with the Luo community. When a man got very old and handed over the running of his homesteads to his sons, the sons will sometimes find a young woman for the old man to marry. Yes, now this is something else that is unique with the Luo community, in the sense that, you know, just as I said earlier, the man is the head of a homestead, but eventually when he ages or he's so tired and he can no longer run the errands in a home or lead a home, the sons take over. And then, despite this man having probably 3, 4 wives, depending on what he settled on when he decided to marry, the sons can also get a younger woman to just take care of this man during his old age. Now, such girls were normally those who could not find men to marry, when then usually because they had children out of wedlock, wife inheritance was and is still a practice. That's something associated with the Luo community. Now, they had extensive customs surrounding the death. There will be a great celebration at the home of the deceased, with mourning lasting up to 40 days. I think this is still something that is common with the Luo community, just that probably some customs have changed. But one thing that still stands out is the sense that someone doesn't, when a family or a given community have lost somebody, the person is not just buried immediately. They have to call relatives, friends together, so that they're celebrating the life of this person. It could be up to 3, 4, 5 days, depending on how the family is prepared. It could not necessarily extend as much as in the traditional system, but still, this is something that the Luo still uphold. It's important to celebrate somebody's life. If someone was so dear to you, is part and parcel of your family. It means that this person needs to be celebrated, and this includes, they'll cook food, they will do everything that needs to be done, So this is what happens in the Luo community. Now, when you look at food, now this is something again that is common, or rather so familiar in the public domain. Luos are known for enjoying chicken as their delicacy, chicken and ugali. And this is something that is common, but nowadays, I think it cuts across. So many people love chicken. It's no longer something associated with the Luos, but the Luos, they're known for enjoying chicken and ugali and even mboga za kienyeji in the local term. These are just various greens that are cooked in special ways in pots, and those traditional spices are added so that they are combined with ugali. Now, something else that also acts as the economic activity of the Luo, and at the same time something that, Luos enjoy, it's sugarcane. As I've said earlier, Luos are known to practice sugarcane farming as part of the economic activity. So this also extends in what they enjoy, probably when they're chilling out or whatever that they're doing. Sawa, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. There's so much that surrounds the Luo community when it comes to various, activities and how they're associated with, and the special outstanding factors about the Luo communities. But today, this is just the much that I could share about the Luo community. We are coming to the end of, the morning drift. It has been amazing having you on board, and thank you so much for always watching Look Up TV. Until next time, goodbye.
We value your feedback and welcome your complaints about our programming and operations. Feel free to get in touch with us through 0700 893 542 or send us an email to views@look-up.tv. We can't wait to hear from you.
Please make those payments and take dinner out the freezer. Enjoy your day off.
Hey.
How was your day?
Great.
Did you pay the bills?
Abby did it.
And the plumber?
Abby did it.
Send money to your mom?
Abby did it.
Who's Abby?
Bank on WhatsApp with Abby, your 24/7 digital personal banker. Another digital innovation that gets things done. That's Africanacity. That's ABSA.
Did you take dinner out the freezer?
Naitwa Agnes Kagore, ukipenda AK47. Mimi ni mwanabiashara na kiongozi hapa Nairobi. Nimeitikia mwito wenu na mwaka huu ninawania kiti cha ugavana kaunti ya Nairobi ili kuboresha huduma kwenu. Nitalainisha sekta za afya, mazingira, elimu, ajira na leseni za biashara. Nitawapa mafunzo mapya maafisa wetu na kukomesha ufisadi ili ufurahie na ujifunie kuwa mkaaji wa Nairobi. Nategemea kula yako ili tuinue mtaa, tujenge Nairobi.
Like, follow, subscribe, click the notification button. Join the Look Up TV movement now.